Hello, my name is Todd Hicks on behalf of OTF and the Department of Plant Pathology. Welcome to this week's Turf Tips. As you can see from the weather we're having this morning, we've had a significantly warm up in the past week to 10 days, so much so that we're either tying or setting records with the heat. To be an unhappy pathologist, the two things we've had along with this weather pattern that have made me unhappy and you guys are fairly happy is a little bit of wind and no humidity. The wind's been kicking the humidity out, so we've been rather dry. So there's not a lot of disease to report on this week. The only thing we are seeing is a little bit increase in the leaf spot, mostly for the high cut community. Still hearing a few golf courses having problems. Nobody's really struggling with it. More in the home lawn type area, they seem to be struggling with it. We're seeing some areas that are weak and haven't been cared for, going from just disease areas to actual melting out with the turf stands kind of thinning out. So if you're having those problems, increase your fertility, look for a fungicide to help control that. Since there's not much to talk about disease-wise this week, I'd like to take a moment as the season starts up and then we get really into a trend of being busy all the time, is to talk about safety and prevention. We work in a business where we work outside in the weather conditions that are adverse sometimes. We have clientele and staff that are young and old, and we tend to work with heavy equipment, and some of that heavy equipment tends to have very sharp things on them. So it's not if something's going to happen, it's probably when something's going to happen. Make sure you got a plan and you're prepared for it. Most of us has the small first aid kits, what I call the bump and bruise kits to patch somebody up. Maybe we need to look into getting something a little more significant, because if something does happen with said equipment, it's going to be a little more significant. Since we are multiple ages and we do work outside, the other thing we need to be aware of is having our staff trained. Do they have some training in first aid? Do they know how to use the AED equipment if that's available on our course or at our facility? Do they know basic CPR? These are some things that they can take courses on their own free time as an incentive. Most of these courses can be done online, where they show up to a class for two and a half hours and they get some basic training so that they can help when these emergencies arise. Remember, preventative is always the way to go. Never want to have this stuff happen and then try to prepare or to fix it once it happens. So be safe, have fun. Looks like we're going to cool off beginning of next week for another couple, maybe 5 days or 7 days. After that, it sounds like we're going to go right back in the heat. For my end of the business, I hope we go back in the heat and then get a little disease going. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Mother's Day. We'll talk to you next week.